the show, there are times when we're biting our lips from laughing. I'm trying not to laugh, It was a perfect time for a show like Lost in Space.
She drifted like stardust across the screen as Judy Robinson. Yet beneath the sparkling spacesuit, her real world rattled with tension. Fans saw a fearless explorer gliding past galaxies. But behind the plywood set's Marta Kristen was wrestling with choices that could have blown the entire mission apart. For years, she locked those memories in a mental airlock, afraid the truth might rip away the magic. Today, she finally cracks that seal. What secret almost sent her sprinting off set before cameras even rolled? Which buried incident flips the story we thought we knew. Strap in. This ride begins in a place light years from Hollywood, from orphanage to outer space. Picture wartime Oslo in 1944, buildings scarred by bombings and streets cloaked in fear. In that chaos, a baby named Birgit Annalisa Rosanen entered the world, her Finnish mother exhausted, and her German soldier father already marked by conflict. Nazi officials soon circled the newborn, eager to draft her into Hitler's Lebensborn program, a dark attempt to breed racially pure children. A secret network of nurses whisked her to a hidden orphanage, where silence kept her safe as planes roared overhead. Those earliest memories are smoky fragments, yet they forged a steel core inside the child. When peace finally arrived in 1949, destiny came knocking in the form of Professor Harold Soderquist and his kind-hearted wife from Detroit. In one sleepless voyage across the Atlantic, Birgit became Marta Kristen, trading bomb shelters for brick classrooms and ration lines for playground laughter. The adjustment felt like landing on another planet. Marta spoke little English, but nightly story time with her adoptive father, an academic at Wayne University, turned language into an adventure. By the time the family moved to Santa Monica for a sabbatical, she was reciting class speeches with California accent and soaking up sunshine she had never imagined. Every step from immigrant to honor roll student taught her how to reinvent herself. And that skill would be priceless in Hollywood, a chance discovery that changed everything. One summer evening, a teenage Marta ducked into a small Los Angeles restaurant for milkshakes with friends. James Harris, the producer who had just shocked audiences with Lolita, spotted her across the room and froze. He saw poise, curiosity, and star potential. The role in Lolita itself was off the table because she was still a minor and the subject matter too risky, but Harris refused to let her vanish. Within days, he introduced her to an agent, and auditions hit like meteors. Marta's first brush with fame came on Alfred Hitchcock Presents. She traded lines with young Billy Mumi Long before Jupiter 2 blasted off. She hugged every opportunity, appearing on the 11th Hour, My Three Sons, and even sharing the screen with a loyal dog in Disney's Savage Sam. Back then, Hollywood sets were patchwork playgrounds of bright lights and last-minute rewrites, but Marta soaked up each lesson like oxygen, the real-life echo behind the audition room door. By 1964, her resume impressed casting directors, yet it was her backstory that made them lean forward. Here stood an orphan who had dodged the Nazis, crossed an ocean, and carved out a new identity, and now she wanted to portray a girl flung into the unknown reaches of space. The parallels felt electric. Producers whispered that audiences would feel that authenticity, even if they never knew the details. Still, one screen test nearly derailed everything. A Star Almost Born. Months before Lost in Space began production, 20th Century Fox invited Kristen to try out for the world-famous Von Trapp children in The Sound of Music. The hills were about to come alive, and so were Marta's hopes. On test days, she wore a simple dress, braided her hair, and sang with precise diction taught by her adoptive dad. The crew smiled, yet days later the crushing verdict arrived. She was too sexy for the role. The phrase made her wince. She was 20, shy, and still wiped tables at home. In 2021, she told Fox News, "I didn't think of myself as sexy. I was a Norwegian Midwesterner." That single label exposed a double standard that silenced many young actresses of the era. Your looks could land you a job or slam the door shut, and you had no control over which. Adding salt to the wound, her future co-star Angela Cartwright grabbed the part of Brigitte Von Trapp. Marta congratulated her with genuine warmth, but privately stewed over what might have been. Had she marched through Austria on camera, she might have spent years trapped in wholesome musicals. Instead, she would soon zip into metallic boots and discover a destiny among the stars. The role that almost wasn't. Victory, however, did not come instantly. When showman Irwin Allen offered her the role of Judy Robinson, Marta hesitated. She adored Shakespeare, dreamed of Broadway marquees, and feared TV sci-fi might be a dead end. For 13 nail-biting days, she paced her apartment, comparing the sure thrill of live theater in New York with the uncertain horizon of a brand-new CBS series. Friends insisted she would be crazy to refuse. Allen kept calling, promising the part would remain hers if she said yes. Finally, in a moment of daring faith, she chose the Jupiter 2. She reminded herself that true explorers never picked a safe route, and she was an explorer even before she could crawl. Yet her instincts about the character proved right. Script soon centered on Dr. Smith's comic chaos and the robot's clunky charisma, while Judy often stood at the edge of the frame-passing tools of others. Marta longed for deeper scenes where Judy could quote lines from Hamlet or wrestle with leadership under alien skies. Those pages rarely arrived, but she poured heart into every moment she was given, lighting up the screen with warmth that fans never forgot. Silence on set, but heard by history. Behind the scenes, cracks widened. Some writers joked that the show should be renamed Smith in Space because a bumbling doctor stole so much spotlight. During table reads, Marta quietly asked for more layers, hoping Judy could chase her own storylines instead of hovering near the spaceship kitchen. Producers thanked her, yet seldom followed through. Still, she refused to sulk. On long shooting days, she lifted spirits, told jokes in Norwegian, and mentored younger castmates who were grappling with sudden fame. Network executives fixated on ratings charts insisted the show lean harder into broad comedy to rake in younger viewers. Each revision pushed Judy further into background, turning a once adventurous teenager into what Marta jokingly called a space houseplant who watered everyone else's plots. Some nights she drove home in tears, convinced her dreams of serious acting were evaporating like rocket fuel. Yet she showed up the next morning with a fresh smile, because the crew relied on her steady energy. During lunch break, she and co-star June Lockhart scribbled new dialogue on napkins, hoping to sneak richer lines past the censors. Sometimes the director let them keep those tweaks, and in those stolen moments Judy cracked scientific riddles or comforted frightened colonists, proving Kristen's range in ways no official script ever dared. Fans later replayed those scenes frame by frame, sensing something real flicker beneath the campy tone. Audiences never saw that private resilience, but it pulsed beneath every gentle smile she flashed on screen. When syndication carried Lost in Space to new generations, young viewers wrote letters begging to learn more about Judy's scientific ambitions and secret fears. Those messages proved what Kristen had sensed all along. People crave complex heroines, even in a campy adventure show. Today, streaming platforms beam those episodes worldwide in crisp high definition, and new viewers marvel at how Judy's quiet strength anchors a family even when the story veers into slapstick. Her understated bravery reminds them that heroism is not always loud. Sometimes there's a steady hand keeping the mission alive while others panic. The decision that paid off. Decades later, Marta attends fan conventions where lines snake around the block. Grandparents arrive with grandchildren clutching vintage robot toys, all eager to hear her stories. She tells them how one split-second choice to accept a part she almost declined changed everything. She never took Broadway by storm, yet she gained something equally powerful, a permanent orbit in cultural memory. Whenever fans ask why she stayed even when the writers ignored Judy's growth, she answers with a soft laugh. Because I knew the journey mattered more than the destination. That truth guided her from a hidden orphanage to a shining spacecraft, and it still guides her every time she steps onto a stage, a studio, or even a convention floor. She never wanted Judy Robinson to be just another pretty face in a silver jumpsuit. Marta Kristen dreamed of a heroine who could quote Macbeth while steering a starship. From the start, she begged writers to let Judy flash sharp ideas and raw feelings instead of standing politely in the background. Kristen told Fox News she grew up reciting Shakespeare for fun, whispering the witches' spells of Macbeth until the pages wore thin. She pictured Judy debating moral puzzles, sparking family arguments, and tackling alien riddles with quick wit. In that vision, Judy became a thinker, a dreamer, and a spark that lit up every crisis. One place that extra depth could have soared was Judy's slow burn spark with Major Don West. Hints of romance floated through many episodes, yet the story never caught fire, leaving both characters adrift. Marta believed a bold script could have turned their bond into a mirror for the fast-changing 60s. Two young adults wrestling with freedom, duty, and love while drifting among unknown worlds. Imagine Judy and Don tackling gender roles in Zero Gravity, or joking about who would fix the reactor next. Those scenes never arrived, and Kristen still feels the empty space where they could have lived. Even so, she looks back without anger. She calls Lost in Space both brave and bound by its era, daring enough to send a family across the stars, yet timid when it came to giving women the same narrative power as men. Her commentary opens new eyes for fans who once saw the show as flawless and now see rich potential left unexplored. Behind the smiles. On screen, everything looked campy and bright, yet backstage a real family was forming. Marta says the set rang with laughter, friendly teasing, and moments of honest support that carried them through long shoot days. Guy Williams, her TV father, filled his dressing room with classical music that spilled into hallways like a gentle wave. June Lockhart coached Marta in fierce Scrabble battles and shocked her with endless stories from an epic career. Jonathan Harris, mischievous as Dr. Smith, drilled perfect professionalism into everyone. Arrive early, know every line, thank every crew member. Marta bonded tightly with young Bill Mumy, trading Bob Dylan lyrics between takes until robot props rattled in envy. Angela Cartwright became one of the sweetest people she had ever known, a friend who still checks in decades later. Mark Goddard's jokes made Marta laugh so hard she once doubled over on the Jupiter 2 ramp. Those giggles later fueled the chemistry fans loved. The deepest memory comes from 2002 when Marta hugged Jonathan Harris for the last time after a commercial shoot. He told her she was lovely with that warm twinkle in his eye, and the words still glow inside her. After Harris passed, Marta cared for his widow Gertrude and even adopted her dog, carrying their bond far beyond the screen. These stories prove Lost in Space mattered less for laser battles and more for the human ties welded together beneath studio lights. Sudden silence. Then, without warning, the adventure slammed to a halt. Marta was home on a quiet afternoon when the phone rang. The show is canceled. No farewell party. No final mission. No chance to say goodbye on camera. Shock hit like a meteor. Ratings were strong. Kids loved the robot. Adults loved the family themes. So why pull the plug? Months later, the truth dripped out. CBS wanted 6 finished scripts at once, but creator Irwin Allen was juggling other projects and could not feed the demand. Instead of fighting, he let the series drift away, and the network shut down the Jupiter 2. High production costs added fuel to the fire. Giant sets and flashy effects burned money faster than rocket fuel. Even so, the sudden stop felt brutal to a cast that poured heart and time into every episode. Marta mourned the abrupt ending, yet pride soon replaced pain. Letters poured in from kids who grew into parents, thanking her for hope, courage, and warm memories. "It still surprises me," she said, "that people even today, with all the modern gimmicks, can remember our simple little show." A sense of belonging. Although the cameras went dark, the impact on Marta's life blazed on. For an orphan who once hid from war in Norway, the set of Lost in Space gave her a rare treasure, a place where she truly belonged. 3 seasons of shared challenges forged friendships she carries like family photos in her heart. Jonathan Harris's lessons on punctuality and respect shaped her career long after the final wrap. Guy, June, Mark, Angela, and Bill taught her that great art depends on teamwork, patience, and humor. Disagreement happened, but they settled them with talk, trust, and sometimes a Scrabble rematch. Those values followed Marta into every later job and every fan convention, where generations line up for a smile. The show may have ended without closure, yet its spirit of unity, curiosity, and kindness keeps traveling from screen to screen, and that, Marta says, is the greatest mission any crew could achieve. Friendships born beneath whirring camera rigs often vanish when the final cut echoes, yet Marta Kristen discovered a rare miracle. The bond she built on Lost in Space only tightened as decades slipped by. Long after the sets were hauled to storage and the Jupiter 2 became a convention prop, she, Bill Mumy, and Angela Cartwright stayed linked like stars in the same constellation, proving make-believe families can evolve into life-saving lifelines. Those ties went far beyond holiday cards and occasional phone call. When magazine deadlines pressed, Mumi still texted Kristen a goofy joke, and Cartwright shared snapshots of her latest art projects just to brighten her day. Everyday worries, ill parents, sputtering cars, baffling script offers, were poured into group chats that felt more like siblings swapping secrets than coworkers reminiscing about an old job. Another shimmering thread in Kristen's life was her heartfelt connection to Gertrude, widow of the unforgettable Jonathan Harris. Gertrude's warm wisdom filled gaps left by relatives oceans away, and when she passed, Marta honored that bond by adopting Gertrude's dog, ensuring the tiny companion never felt lost or lonely. Each morning walk became a living reminder of how a television show could leak off-screen and soak into personal identity. Kristen says those relationships steadied her through granite phases, the rough years when auditions fell silent or critics questioned her relevance. A quick call with Bill or coffee with Angela flipped gloom into laughter, proving that friendship outlasts any trophy on a mantle. In interviews, she insists the series' real gift was an unshakable sense of community. Cameras handed her fame, but the ensemble gave her roots. "I gained a sense of an ensemble," she told Fox, "a sense of what it's like to work together." That sentence still guides her every step. A reunion through time and memory. Years later, the galaxies aligned once more, calling the crew to blast off into nostalgia. Kristen, Mumi, and Cartwright gathered around kitchen tables stacked with dusty boxes to curate a treasure for faithful fans. The result, Lost and Found, in Space Superscript 2, Blast Off into the Expanded Edition, is a panoramic memoir crammed with almost 1,000 photos, more than 600 never seen before. Each page crackles like an exposed film reel. Selecting pictures was no polite chore. For weeks they sifted contact sheets, debating which candid grin or monster puppet deserved a spot. Some images caught late-night rewrites under harsh fluorescent lights. Others froze lunchtime sing-alongs where Bill strummed guitar and Marta harmonized. Each photo yanked dormant memories to the surface, sparking tears, giggles, and goosebumps that rose like constellations on their arms. Kristen likened turning the pages to opening a pressurized airlock. Every flip released smells, sounds, and half-forgotten jokes. She remembered the clang of metal stairs to the Jupiter 2 set, the scent of ozone from sparking wires, and the scratchy fabric of her jumpsuit that trapped California heat. Those sensory flashes stitched yesterday to today in an instant. The memoir's 2021 launch synced with Heritage Auction's Monsters and Friends event, where the trio slid back into costume for thrill fans. Walking on stage in Judy's boots jolted Kristen like a power surge. Cheers vibrated the floorboards, camera flashes mimicked strobe lights, and grown adults wiped away tears. Childhood heroes were right there. Seeing that electric reaction proved the series' endurance. A modest 1960s show, once dismissed as camp, had planted seeds that bloomed half a century later in hearts worldwide. Pop culture historian Jennifer Cation Armstrong nailed the magic. When actors open their archives, they're not just sharing memorabilia. They're inviting fans into a shared memory. By hand-picking every image, Kristen and friends tore down the wall between performer and audience, turning nostalgia into a giant family reunion, the legacy that surprised her. Even now, Marta marvels at new viewers discovering the show on streaming platforms. She laughs at kids raised on photorealistic dragons binge 3 seasons of cardboard asteroids with shining eyes. "It still surprises me," Kristen admitted, "that people even today, with all the modern gimmicks, can remember our simple little show." She credits the staying power to universal storytelling, family loyalty, survival, teamwork, and stubborn hope. Parents who once argued over who got to be Judy during backyard playtimes now curl up with grandchildren, weaving 3 generations into a single viewing party. Letters pour in. Engineers say the show nudged them toward space careers. Nurses found comfort in its calm during crises, and writers trace their creative spark to those episodes. In a world awash with gloom, Lost in Space stand out as a rare anthem of optimism. Media scholar Amanda Lotz notes, audiences often return to the show that reassures them about their values, especially in times of insecurity. Kristen jokes the series is cosmic comfort food, low in budget, rich in soul. Young viewers giggle at wobbly props, then lean forward when the family clings together in storms, discovering emotional honesty beats shiny graphics every time. A final reflection. Now in her 80s, Marta Kristen looks back at Judy Robinson with a glow brighter than studio lights. Though Dr. Smith's antics often stole headlines, her quieter presence anchored the mayhem, giving the family gravity. Convention lines stretch long with fans who say an episode helped them through hospital stays or united estranged relatives. Those testimonies are treasures. Long shooting days taught discipline, ensemble dialogue taught empathy, and cramped dressing rooms showed humor dissolves stress faster than any meditation app. Lost in Space shaped her stage work, charity efforts, and everyday life. Kristen knows Judy Robinson quietly chipped at gender stereotypes long before girl power became a trend. Television historian Susan J. Douglas observes, even passive roles, when played with intelligence and care, can subtly shift the cultural lens. Marta feels honored to have nudged that lens. That cultural nudge echoed far beyond studio gates. During 1970s and 1980s conventions, panels on women in space flourished, and attendees often cited Judy Robinson as their first glimpse of daughters charting the cosmos as boldly as sons. Marta, seated in the front row, wiped happy tears while engineers, pilots, and teachers thank her for sparking impossible dreams. Lost in Space wasn't just another credit. It was an odyssey that reshaped her identity. It brought lifelong friends, strong work ethics, and a global family linked by shared wonder. It was a wonderful show to do, said Fox, and that modest pride defines a legacy. Epilogue of hope. Kristen's journey also spotlights mid-century women in science fiction, often boxed into domestic corners. Yet Judy Robinson stood on alien soil, charting hazards and offering tactical insight. By staying true to herself, Kristen proved quiet intelligence can be revolutionary. Today she mentors young actors, urging them to demand layered roles while staying gracious. Her mantra, teamwork first, ego last, echoes across new sets and will shape tomorrow's entertainment universe. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Marta Kristen's journey on Lost in Space, be sure to like the video, subscribe for more classic TV stories.